Foldy, I'm coming to you, my friend, because I know you have this obsession with UFOs. But I read something online today that these scientists weren't just involved in UFO stuff. I heard that they were also involved in nuclear technology.
So I'm a long-standing believer in aliens, in part because of listening to Joe Rogan. And if you want to look at the opposite and say that there are no aliens, I can point you to Fermi's paradox, which states that the odds are so high that there is alien life. And yet we haven't seen it. But I actually solved Fermi's paradox because we have aliens living among us. Gavin Newsom, lizard person, is for sure one of them. I don't think he is responsible for these deaths and disappearances, but he is proof of extraterrestrial life.
Gabriella, what do you think is going on here? Do you think it's suspicious, or are these guys just disappearing?
The one scientist in particular, Nuno, the Portuguese gentleman who was killed, the fusion expert, tragically by his former classmate or someone who was aggrieved by or jealous over the technology and stuff he was working on. But I can't really speculate as to the others. I had heard that a couple of them.
Wait, what's the fun in that? It's like the first South Park episode about this.
But I was listening on the radio. I think I was listening to Chris Plant actually talk about this radio morning, and he was talking about how 3 of the 10 or so had mysteriously left their phones home, went on a hike and a walk, and told their spouses that they kind of have this mental fog. So something is weird.
This
maybe
is a risk
China,
for
Russia.
Great Outdoors Month.
It is a risk. Perhaps, I think maybe what's plausible is maybe Russia, China, and some of our adversaries have gotten to them, maybe blackmailed them if they're competing for certain technology, if it's nuclear or something else of that matter. So we might see an adversary connection if there is something nefarious tied to it.
Yeah, it's absolutely, like, these people just disappearing is totally crazy, Alex. Like, do you think it's tied to the UFOs, or?
Look, my take on aliens has always been, I don't believe in them for the time being because I don't think Trump would have kept it a secret for this long. I think he would have brought it up at a rally at some point, said they voted for him or something like that.
It's the strongest argument against him.
Yeah.
It's the only one.
Pretty persuasive, right?
Well, go ahead.
No, just my last point. This is one of those stories, and we were talking about this in the break, it really perplexes me. I mean, I like to think I've been in this industry long enough where I can make sense of most of the stories even before they're kind of figured out. I don't know what to think of this one, and it's a little bit scary.
10 people just disappearing or dying it just doesn't happen. It's so tough to disappear. But you heard from the president and the White House press secretary about the missing UFO scientists. But will we ever get to the bottom of this mystery? Newsmax took to the streets to find out.
Lawmakers are calling for an investigation into this. Do you trust the government to get to the bottom of it?
I'm not really trusting of the government to do anything right now.
Have you ever seen anything the government does? No, I don't trust them for anything.
No. Why not?
It's too scary. No, because it's a lot of times where the government covers up things to make them look good at the end of the day. We've been able to see that, especially these past 2 years, especially through the Epstein files.
Yes, I definitely trust the government. Okay. I think that this government's definitely one of the more trustable ones.
I feel like the government is a ton of sinful people, and it's hard to know who to put your trust in.
Do you think Americans will ever learn the truth about what happened to them one way or the other?
No, not at all.
Why not?
Because those people will disappear as well.
Jason, this isn't really a partisan issue, but I've heard a lot of really cool theories about UFOs. Father Chad Ripperger has been doing a bunch of interviews. He's one of the extras for the Vatican. He thinks that they're demons, that there's a lot of the weird stuff that they do when they abduct people, weird experiments. It rhymes with the stuff that he sees in exorcisms. But I've also heard all the theories about how these are government technologies. What's your take? Or what's your favorite conspiracy, I guess?
My favorite conspiracy? So first of all, I think we can talk to one particular alien. His name is Space God. If you look him up on Instagram, he's an actual alien and says a lot of interesting things. But in all seriousness, I kind of agree with a lot of those people. And it's sad that here in America, we can't trust our government, no matter who's at the head of it. You can't trust them to necessarily tell you what's happening or what's going on. And I think that woman, I believe, who said, the Epstein files are kind of proof of that, I can totally identify with that. Like, we're not going to find out the truth about a lot of these issues. As far as one of our adversaries, I think if we were ahead of the game, they would just kind of surveil and try to get ahead of us. Like, why would they kill these guys and stop the progress rather than watch and then learn and then try to emulate that?
Them to work for them, support them.
Oh, if they've been abducted, then that's the case. But these people have died, right?
They're died or missing. We don't really know.